All right, guys, let's talk some Mario.
Hell yes.
I'm ready.
Let's talk Mario.
Mario.
Yeah, Mario.
No, Mario.
Mario.
Ma.
Rio.
Rio.
Mario.
Mario.
We copied Family Guy. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of That Cybert channel. I'm Dan Cybert, and I brought so many friends today.
Hey guys, I'm AJ.
And I'm Logan from Fanatics 4.
And I'm Bob Wolf from the Wolf Den.
Today, we're going to be talking about Super Mario Odyssey. Whoa. Okay. I know you've probably seen a lot of videos on this, but this will be different. Come on back. Come on back. There's the set. Thank you. So, clearly this game has been thoroughly covered.
I think we covered it about 6 times.
Actually, probably pushing 10.
I've mentioned it at least once in every video for the last 3 months. Some would say I have a problem.
Well, then let's talk about something different. Wonder if I told you that Super Mario Odyssey is actually the beginning of Phase 3 of the Super Mario franchise. And not only that, we can predict what we should be seeing in the next Super Mario game.
Swear to God, if rabbits show up, I will destroy Ubisoft and everything that stands for.
Well, let's dive into Mario's history, and we'll show you a very interesting pattern that the Super Mario franchise has been following.
Like, who the hell asked for rabbits in a Mario game?
And we lost them.
Was it you?
Cool. So what do we mean by phases? Well, I'm sure we're all familiar with the Marvel Cinematic Universe, or MCU for short.
In case you've been living under a rock for the last decade and a half, the MCU has been divided into phases. Basically a bunch of superhero movies broken up into groups of sequels.
Well, turns out Mario has been doing this since 1985. That's right. Mario went metal before Iron Man did.
Iron Man has been around since 1963.
Then Mario went metal before Robert Downey Jr.
That is true.
Unlike the Marvel Universe, however, Mario has been following a rather specific pattern with the main Super Mario series. Now, what defines the Super Mario series is pretty tricky. There are a lot of Mario games. I'm pretty sure it's pushing up to 100.
Well, just as the MCU mostly takes place within the movies, the Super Mario series mostly lives on the main home consoles. So after some extensive looks at the games, we found the Super Mario series begins with the original Super Mario Bros., followed next by Super Mario Bros. 2/Lost Levels, then Super Mario Bros. 3.
We then jump into the 16-bit era with Super Mario World, then upgrade again to Super Mario 64, which is followed up by Super Mario Sunshine. Mario then jumps into his waggle phase with Super Mario Galaxy and Galaxy 2, which then leads us to today with the fantastic Super Mario Odyssey.
Now, you may have noticed a few games missing from the list when it comes to the main consoles. In particular, New Super Mario Bros. Wii, Wii U, and Super Mario 3D World are excluded. But why, you may ask?
Let's put it this way, if Super Mario is bacon, these games are turkey bacon. Yeah, it's supposed to look and be like the actual stuff, but we all know it's not.
These games are spin-offs. The new Super Mario series was a way to capture the magic of the original 2D Marios. Then, Super Mario 3D World was a sequel to Super Mario 3D Land, which was an attempt to bring the 3D Mario format to portable systems.
See? Turkey bacon.
Don't get us wrong, they are solid games, but they don't fit what we see as the main series, which leaves us with this list of games. Now let's get into the good stuff.
Since the first phase, Super Mario has always fallen into a 4-stage pattern: innovation, oddity, return, and perfected. So beginning with the first stage of innovation, you'll find Super Mario Bros. And Super Mario 64.
If you don't know how these are innovators, then you've probably just started gaming, or you're Dan's mom.
Leave Mama Cybert out of this.
I hold nothing back, Cybert, even when it's on your channel. Super Mario Bros. Popularized the platform genre and set many standards for the franchise and industry.
Super Mario 64 defined what a 3D platformer should be when the industry made the jump to 3D. No one knew how to make a 3D platformer yet, and Mario stood above the others as the gold standard.
I mean, granted, his competition were games like Sonic 3D Blast and Bubsy 3D. So, you know, it was this, or this.
What could possibly go wrong?
This, or this.
Now, what would a platform game be without platforms?
Guys, I could do this all day.
Anyway, after innovation comes the black sheep of the phase, aka the oddity. Here you'll find Super Mario 2 and Super Mario Sunshine. And when we say Super Mario 2, we're really talking about both the Japanese and the North American versions.
Super Mario 2 was an odd moment in the franchise history. Super Mario 2 in Japan was similar to Super Mario Bros. With a huge difficulty spike. Thinking that the rest of the world wouldn't be able to handle the game, and they may have been right, Nintendo instead released a reskinned version of the game called Doki Doki Panic.
This is how we arrived at the stage of oddity. Nintendo managed to create two different games with different gameplay, trying to be the same game and sharing the same name.
Like an awkward sibling rivalry where you're both trying to accomplish the same goal but in different ways. Personally, I can relate.
Then there's Super Mario Sunshine. Graphically, this pushed Mario into looking a little less angular than its predecessor. However, like the North American version of Super Mario 2, it changed the gameplay a little bit. Not as drastic, but this time around, Mario basically became a janitor for a while.
In Sunshine, we're introduced to the Flood Pack, basically an advanced Super Soaker that can talk. This shook up the gameplay quite a bit. Some enemies could only be defeated by hitting them with water. Standard power-ups were replaced by nozzles that would shoot out water, and you felt completely naked whenever Dark Mario stole your water pack.
That, and there was voice acting for everyone.
I won't let you take Mama Peach away. Mama Peach?
It was jarring at first to see a fully voice-acted Mario. This would be something that Nintendo would only do with this one Mario game. Afterwards, it was returned to grunts and just single words.
That brings us to the third stage, Return, where we get back from turnip picking and cleanup work, back to jumping on bad guys. This stage returned the franchise back to its roots. Here is where we find two of Mario's best games, Super Mario Bros. 3 and Super Mario Galaxy.
We see these games removing the odd changes made to the franchise and returned it to the tried and true. Super Mario Bros. 3 leveled out the difficulty and returned the gameplay back to Super Mario Bros. But not only that, Super Mario Bros. 3 made tons of new improvements on the formula, including the ability of flight, storing power-ups, and a world map.
Super Mario Galaxy did a similar thing with removing the water jetpack and tightened up Mario's controls and added a new spin mechanic to add a level of precision that you didn't have in 64. It also brought back power-ups you would see from the original phase with new abilities like B Mario, Boo Mario, and the return of the Fire Flower. Though it's temporary, why Nintendo? Just let us shoot fireballs.
These two games felt like the game coming back with loads of new mechanics to help the platforming feel more diverse. Whether it be flight or gravity, each one changed the way you thought about Mario.
This leads us into the final stage, Perfected, which I mean might be a bit of an exaggeration, but really it felt like Nintendo finding the essence of that phase of Mario. This stage included Mario's jump to the 16-bit era with Super Mario World and Super Mario Galaxy 2, which basically was Super Mario Galaxy 1 final mix. I'm just glad Nintendo didn't follow Kingdom Hearts in that naming convention.
Super Mario World took everything from Super Mario 3 and streamlined it. World kept the power-ups down to a Fire Flower for killing and Feather for flying.
Rip Hammersuit. You'll be missed.
Not only that, it added in Yoshi and better hidden shortcuts. It was also the base for tons of hacks, including the most famous hack of them all, Kaizo Mario.
Super Mario Galaxy 2 was actually being developed as Super Mario Galaxy 1.5, meant to be more of a definitive version for the first game. However, the ideas they wanted to add in became too massive for just an expansion, so the devs decided to create a full other sequel from it.
This game greatly improved on a lot of the mechanics and reintroduced Yoshi and some new power-ups. It took an already great game and made it even better. Not even sure how they did that. Which leads us to Phase 3 with Super Mario Odyssey, one of my favorite games on the Switch and maybe one of Mario's best games. So how do we know that this game is starting the process all over again?
With the first two phases, it's pretty clear to see where they start. Super Mario Bros. Set the foundation for the series and platformers as a whole, and Mario 64 did the same but for 3D platformers. Super Mario Odyssey, though, isn't as clear of an innovator to fit the stage 1 of innovation. I mean, Odyssey didn't create that big of an industry-wide revolution.
You could point out that there is no longer a hub world to be kicked out after grabbing a major collectible. However, Banjo-Kazooie had already done that with the multiple Jiggies to collect without having to return to a hub for the next mission. then, as unique as the capture mechanic is, Banjo was already transforming into other things before Mario.
Yet, that doesn't mean it's not innovative for the Mario franchise. Many of the things we just mentioned were brand new to the Mario franchise. 3D Marios have always had around 120 stars to collect, and after collecting each one, you'd be booted out into the hub world just to choose the next mission and repeat.
Not to mention, for being a 3D game, some of the stars still felt pretty linear, with a fairly clear path to the star. There was no real reason to explore the worlds. Sure, Galaxy 2 would up the star count and green stars gave you more reason to look around, but even then there was a definite linearity to the game.
Super Mario Odyssey cranked up the franchise to 11. You can now collect 999 power moons hidden throughout 17 large worlds. Moons can be as obvious as climbing up a building to carefully platforming down a narrow passageway. If you're not checking every nook and cranny, you'll never find all the power moons.
Then you have the capture mechanic that adds an entirely new way to platform and tackle moon gathering. No longer is there a linear path to your objective. You can jump your way to the objective, or you can use bullet bills to skip entire sections.
Odyssey adds freedom to the franchise that Mario really hasn't had before. You can also play dress up with Mario, so, you know, that's new. I may have made sure my outfit fit every world I went to.
I did too.
Same.
If you're going to the Arctic, you put on a parka or you get the freezy legs. It's a freezy leg.
Is Mario Odyssey revolutionizing the industry? Well, not as much as Super Mario Bros. And Super Mario 64, but it has redefined the Mario formula.
If you're still not convinced we're moving into Phase 3, well, Nintendo have said it themselves.
Wait, they have?
Well, not exactly. I mean, this is our own theory here, but the themes and homages of beginnings are scattered throughout Mario Odyssey.
Let's start with the most obvious, the flat sections. Throughout your game, you'll enter 8-bit pipes that will transform Mario into his 8-bit sprite from Super Mario Bros. It's a huge part of the game, but it is the biggest homage to Mario's first Mushroom Kingdom adventure back in 1985.
Then there are ties to the beginning of Phase 2. Quickly, spoiler alert, just to cover our bases. After finishing the game, you'll gain access to some of the most phenomenal end-game content. Most importantly though, you can explore Mushroom Kingdom.
Now, it's not the entire Mushroom Kingdom, but it is an iconic landmark whose first appearance was in Super Mario 64, Peach's Castle. Here you can find even more references to Mario 64, being able to drain the moat, jumping through paintings, and Yoshi on the roof!
But one of my favorite homages here can be found in the Mushroom Kingdom Crazy Cap Shop. Collect enough purple coins, and you can get your hands on a Mario 64 polygonal outfit. Then with enough power moons and coins, you can even buy the Metal Mario 64 outfit, also in its full polygonal glory.
That's connections to both the innovative stages for Phase 1 and 2. But if that still hasn't convinced you on this idea, then maybe this last bit of evidence will. Super Mario Odyssey still pays homage to one more hugely important beginning, his own existence.
The New Donk City Festival is one of the most interesting events in the game when it comes to the game's lore. First, note that the mayor of the city is Pauline, Mario's first girlfriend and damsel in distress.
More importantly, though, the New Donk City Festival is a celebration and retelling of the city's creation. That event is none other than when Mario went toe-to-toe with Donkey Kong himself.
The NDC Festival is homage to what can be referred to as Phase 0, the Donkey Kong era. With so many ties to the beginning of key moments in Mario's history, you can't look me in the eye and tell me we're not entering a new phase, a new era of Super Mario.
So, neat pattern you found there, Cybert, but I'm sure the audience would like to know what this all means.
It means we know the future.
Not quite, but we can predict what to expect for the next entry in the Super Mario series.
Minus the turkey bacon version of Mario.
So, what can we expect from the next game? Well, Mario is gonna get a little weird. Stage 2, as you remember, is Oddity. This is Super Mario 2/Lost Levels in Super Mario Sunshine.
If we're right about this, Nintendo's going to be experimenting with this format for the next game, which could not necessarily be a bad thing. Super Mario Sunshine, when all is said and done, is still a solid game. Even Super Mario Bros. 2 ended up adding staple characters into the franchise and is also a solid game.
And even if the next game is a little too odd for your tastes, the next will be a return to the new baseline that Mario Odyssey has set. With how great Odyssey is, I can only imagine the return is going to be one hell of a game.
I am super excited to see what's gonna happen in this era. With Mario Odyssey being the beginning of it, I can only imagine where this franchise is gonna go.
So for you that aren't sure how Mario can get any better, these patterns have shown time and time again that Nintendo knows how to push the limits of the franchise.
There's a lot to look forward to in the next parts of this phase. New power-ups, new mechanics, and hopefully some more enemies to capture.
But Super Mario has always been consistent. We're confident that the Plumber's next outing will be one hell of a game. But I swear to God, at the Rabbit Show, I'm gonna snap every last copy in half with my tiny little fingers, the tiny little cartridge.
And we lost him again.
He'll be here for a while, so I'm just gonna go.
Yeah, I think we just call it.
Stupid-ass rabbits.
Thanks everyone for watching, and until next time, Cybert out.
Mario has no place in there. There's no reason for that at all. Where did everybody go? You guys still there?
Hey everyone, thanks for watching, and a huge thanks to Bob from the Wolf Den and AJ and Logan from Fanatics 4. Also, I may have messed up the line, but it did create one of my favorite art pieces from Alyssa ever. And now you can get that art piece on a shirt with the Freezy Leg shirt. Make sure to go check that out. And until next time, Cybert out.